everyone, 𝗃𝗶𝗀𝗀 here, and today we're going to be going over my fall favorites from China Glaze. Now please note that not all of these are from China Glaze's fall collection. Some are from their spring and summer collections. I think there's even a polish in here that is from a winter collection as well. I even have some comparisons from 𝘃𝗍 and 𝗃𝗶𝗀𝗏 also. Not all of the colors, but a few of them that are pretty darn close dupes. And with that, I do want to state that I will be linking everything down in the description box below if I can find the polish, or will link different websites where I got these China Glaze polishes. And with a quick disclaimer, I also want to state, please understand that these are my personal opinions and that we can always come to an agreement and disagree and agree on certain things, because not everybody is going to love a poopy yellow color like I do. I know I'm that basic witch out there, so please understand that. But with that being said, if you do like these kind of videos, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join the Chills crew, and without further ado, let's get started. So first up we have Pleather Weather. This is a beautiful, soft matte, cool toned light gray, and this is a fantastic palette cleanser for the fall and the winter. Now, I do have to say, it does take 3 coats to reach full opacity, and it does not have that very harsh, drying, mattified look that most China Glaze polishes have when it comes to matte. However, I do feel like this pairs very, very nicely with a lot of the colors that I've chosen that are in this, especially if you're wanting to mix it up with certain blues, purples, reds, whatever the case may be. I feel like this is a great polish to go with. Next we have Screen Vixen, and this is another matte. It is a matte neutral gold with a gold shimmer. Now, if you've noticed, it's not your typical bright or intense yellow gold. This is more on the softer side, which I feel like is fantastic for this time of year. Again, another palette cleanser, but also I feel like it works both in the fall and also in the winter, since this did come from a winter collection from the Jollywood. So with this being said, this was one of the absolute favorites from that collection. I really love how it looks, not to mention it has a great formula. It was 2 coats and it didn't dry super fast either, which a lot of China Glaze mattes tend to do. Next we have Aut-Umm, I Knew That, and this is a raisin purple brown base, or some might say that it's even burgundy, with a gold green micro flake / glitter that gets opaque between 2 and 3 coats. As for the polish, I think it's absolutely beautiful. It's one of those fall staples now that after it came out in 2018, that it's kind of like you gotta have it in your collection because it kind of reminds you of falling leaves. But I do love the color contrast, and even in the bottle you can see that it even hints at like extreme angles. It has like this blue-green effect. So with that being said, I think this is definitely one to have, even if it's just an accent nail. So next we have Bronze Ambition, and this is a medium chocolate brown with gold shimmer running throughout it. It did take 2 coats to reach full opacity, and I don't know about you, but I love a good brown during the fall. I feel like it's just, I don't know, it reminds me of like spiced teas or spiced coffee, if that's a thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just coffee vibes, I guess, and you know, the brown crunchy leaves on the ground, it just gets me all in the feels, honestly. So with that being said, I really do enjoy browns, and chocolate browns to be exact. So here I have some comparisons. You can see that Cargo Cameo by 𝘃𝗍 is almost a dead-on dupe to the Bronze Ambition by China Glaze. So if you can't find Bronze Ambition, you know, go with the Cargo Cameo if you can find it. I feel like it's a great comparison. It's a great dupe, honestly. It's a tiny bit lighter, I should say, than the China Glaze, which is just a teeny bit darker. But overall, they perform the same. 2 coats, great formulation. So overall, I think both polishes are great. Why do I have both of them? I don't know. I guess I didn't realize it, so there you go. But if I ever need a backup, I can always use the 𝘃𝗍 instead. So next we have Desert Sun, and this is a beautiful caramel cream that reaches full opacity in 2 coats. This is amazing. I don't know about you, but when I think of fall, I think of caramel tones other than mustard oranges, olive greens, and oranges, and I'm all here for it. Like, I don't know, when I think of like a caramel color, I just think of like PSLs and leaves, and okay, I sound like a broken record, but it's still a gorgeous polish. And yes, I do have ugly bottle syndrome on my bottle here, but it doesn't affect the polish, so just note that. Otherwise though, I think this is a great formula. It's a great polish. There are even some comparisons, so I will show that next as well. So for the comparisons here, I do have Caftan by 𝘃𝗍 next to Desert Sun by China Glaze, and you can see they're basically dupes. I think the 𝘃𝗍 is just a teeny bit lighter than the Desert Sun, but honestly, they look very, very close to each other, and again, great formulas on both of them. It does take 2 coats for both of them to reach full opacity, so if my Desert Sun ever, runs out, I can always use my Caftan instead. I think 𝘊𝙁 polish also has a caramel color, so I will link that down below, or I'll even check it out. I completely forgot about putting it in this video for comparison, but I'll let you know if I think it's a close one in the description box. So next we have Preserved in Amber, and this is a yellow jelly with glass gold shards and a pink to orange type shimmer that runs throughout it. It does take 3 coats to reach full opacity. However, you could also layer this over a yellow polish and then put 1 coat of this over that if you don't like the chunkiness of the glass shards. Now, with that being said, I had to pick this because the fact that it's a honey golden yellow tone, and those glass shards, they totally remind me of fallen leaves. And I don't know about you, but I just love the look of this. When I saw this when it came out in the Jurassic Park collection, all I could think about was wearing this in the fall because it's an absolute must-have. Not to mention, a lot of main strains don't do anything like this, and I gotta give kudos to China Glaze for this because it's super, super unique. You only normally find this in indie brands, so with that, it's definitely a must-have in anyone's collection. Next we have Aut-Umm's Up. This is a light mustard yellow cream that reaches full opacity in 2 coats. And now I know you're wondering, why didn't you put Mustard of the Courage in here? Well, that's because, quite frankly, I like a lighter tone of mustard yellow. I know, it definitely reminds me of like the French's mustard that's in the packaging. However, this also reminds me of sunflowers and those beautiful golden light yellow leaves that you see that fall down from like maple trees or sycamore. So yes, I went with this rather than Mustard of the Courage because Mustard of the Courage has a little bit more brown in it. Overall though, I think this is a great formula as well. It is so good, so if you don't have this one, I highly recommend it. So now we have Spice to Meet You, which is a burnt orange cream that reaches full opacity in 2 coats, possibly even in 1 depending on your application. Now with this, I think that this is a must-have in anyone's collection. I don't know, when I see this color, it reminds me of like pumpkin pies, pumpkin spice lattes, pumpkins in general, like just the fall leaves, flannel, you name it, it reminds me of everything. So do I think that this is a must-have? Absolutely. Now do I think there are other colors out there that are very close in range? Yes, I do. However, I feel with the formulation of this one, it was just like butter. I mean, it was fantastic. I can't rave about it any further than I already am, but I do have comparisons though. So here you'll see that I have comparisons. On the left is going to be Susie Needs a Locksmith by OPI. The middle is going to be China Glaze's Spice to Meet You. And then on the right is going to be OPI's Have Your Pantone and Eat It Too. Now, do I really need 3 burnt oranges or oranges in the same kind of category? Yes, I do. No, it sounds kind of crazy, but they all are a little bit different. So it verifies, yes, I do need 3 different types of colors like this. But if I were to recommend one, I would definitely recommend the China Glaze over the 2 OPIs for the simple fact that it does have a little bit more brown in it, but you can definitely tell it is different from the other 2. So now we have Harvest Moon. This is a metallic copper shimmer that reaches full opacity in 2 to 3 coats. Now, I don't know about you, but when I think of copper and fall, I feel like they go hand in hand. It's an absolute must-have in any fall collection. They go great with dusty blues, dark blues, maroons, deeper reds. They look fantastic with a lot of colors, even olive greens. I just feel like copper is just like that quintessential perfect fall color when you think of fall. I feel like copper is right up there with like the mustard yellows and the burnt oranges. It just looks so good. So I think that this one is great, but there are plenty of other brands out there that create really nice metallic copper polishes as well. So now we have N Royale. This is a beautiful brick red cream that reaches full opacity in 2 coats. Now, I don't know about you, but when I think of like fall, I also think of brick reds, and this one is the one that comes to mind. There is another brick type red or an oxblood red that you could even possibly use if you can't get your hands on this one, which is called Modern Auburn, which came out last year, so you can definitely try that one. It's a little bit deeper in tone, just a touch. But for me, I feel like I definitely gravitate more to N Royale. I don't know about you, but I think of flannel, I think of grunge, I think of like the leaves changing color. So yeah, this one's definitely a solid one for me when it comes to the oxblood red department. So the next red in the lineup here is Campfired Up. This is a dusty red cream that reaches full opacity in 2 coats, possibly even 1 depending on your application. Now with this being said, you've already been on my channel before, you know that I love this red. I'm obsessed with it. I even have a backup bottle of it, and I'm going to be sad when the first one goes because I know that China Glaze doesn't make this polish anymore, which I'm really bummed that this did not get added to their core main line because the red is so good. It reminds me of Plaid, Paul Bunyan, I don't know, lumberjack dudes is basically what I'm saying. And yes, I love this red. I need to go find more of it because I love creating nail art with it on top of it. It's just the formulation is so good. So if you can get your hands on this particular one, I highly recommend it. Another great fall polish I think would be great to anyone's collection is Pay It Fashion Forward. It's a purple polish that has gold blurple micro shimmer / glitters that reaches full opacity in 2 to 3 coats. Now I don't know about you, but when I look at this bottle and I look at the swatch stick, it totally reminds me of like a knitted sweater or sweaters or knitted things, I don't know, mittens, but it definitely gives me that vibe. Not to mention, I think it would also make a great Halloween polish as well if you want that witchy vibe, or even for the holidays as well coming up. I just feel like this is a great staple in any fall or winter collection. The other purple I have here is Dawn of a New Reign, and this is a dark purple cream that reaches full opacity in 1 to 2 coats. Now, I will state that if you are looking for a purple polish to knock your socks off, it's going to be this purple because they knocked it out of the park. It's practically 1 coat. I'm not kidding you. This is like a nice eggplant type purple, and yes, I do think of fall. I also think of like eggplant purples. It's not like super dark like Linkin Park After Dark, but it definitely hits all the right places. Not to mention, I think would also again be a great polish for Halloween as well because, you know, you're just thinking like nail art. It's a great base. So yes, definitely a winner in my book. So for the blues, I chose a Manhunt. This is a beautiful deep blue or deep cobalt cream that reaches full opacity in 2 coats. Now, depending on your electronic device, it may be coming off a little bit lighter or a little bit darker. It just depends. However, I do want to state that I feel like this is a great fall staple. It's not too dark where you're wondering like, wait, is that like black on the nails? This, you can definitely know that it's a nice deep blue that's on your nails and you know it's blue. It just looks so good. It reminds me of like flannel because I don't know about you, but pairing this with the Harvest Moon with copper, oh, be still my heart. It's so beautiful. I think blues and coppers look fantastic together. The next blue I've chosen is Sample Sizing Me Up. This is a dusty light to medium blue that reaches full opacity in 2 coats. Now, this is a beautiful blue, a dusty blue in fact. And here's the funny thing. When this first came out, back in 2018, I thought this was an absolute ugly color. I'd even purchase it. I was like, ew, that's gross. Who would want to wear that? However, last year, I don't know, kind of getting drawn to dusty blues. So I tried it out and I gotta say, I'm now obsessed. I love dusty blues. Not to mention, I think they pair really well with mustard yellows, burnt oranges, coppers, the list goes on. But if you're really curious, I do have some nail art that I did with this and Aut-Umm's Up and another indie brand, Potion Polish, and I will link that down below if you want to go ahead and check that manicure out because it was one of my all-time favorite fall manicures. Now, what's a fall polish rack without any teal? This is Jagged Little Teal, a dark teal cream that you can get opaque in 2 coats and possibly even 1 depending on your application. Now, this has a fantastic formulation, not to mention it dries down super shiny. And yes, my bottle does have ugly bottle syndrome, but that's typical of teal polishes. It doesn't actually hinder the polish whatsoever. However, I will state, if you tend to stain with using blues or teals, make sure you use a very good base coat. I will link some down below that I like using because I also stain with teals or blues. Otherwise, this definitely gives me that grunge factor that I really love, so I would definitely recommend this one. And now for the bougier version of teal, this is Deviantly Daring, a blue teal duochrome metallic with fine gold shimmer that gets opaque in 2 coats. Now, I do find that this is beautiful. You can even find this in Sally's. You can find it on China Glaze's website. It's now part of that core line that China Glaze has. And for that, I do think that this pairs very nicely in the fall since it did originally come out in the fall with burnt oranges or even browns, even doing some nail art with some fall leaves on top of this. I feel like teals, browns, and oranges, they just look amazing together. So with that, I do feel that this is a great color to go with. Even if you don't want to do nail art, you can always pair this with one of those other colors just to add as like a Skittle manicure. And now starting off for our greens, this is 𝘂𝗵𝗄𝗎𝘂𝑚, a light sage green cream that gets opaque in 2 coats. This is a fantastic cream polish, especially for a light green. It's a neutral type tone. It is not like screaming in your face. It's great for nail art. Maybe you want to stamp some green leaves over this, or you want to pair it with some like mustardy yellow browns or anything to that effect. But I feel like this is great for nail art, but it's also good for a palette cleanser as well. So maybe you're not wanting to reach for that olive green all the time. So with that being said, I feel like this is great to add to anyone's collection. And of course, it can't be a fall rack without an olive green. This is Argo, a medium olive green with a gold shimmer that gets opaque in 2 coats, possibly even 1, depending on your application. This is a fantastic formula. However, there are quite a few of them that are kind of similar to this on the darker scale that China Glaze has created, but I feel like Argo is very, very beautiful. It's got that right amount of oliveness to it, if that makes any sense. And I think this is great as a nail art base, even as an accent nail as well, if you were wanting to do some other neutral tones and you wanted a pop of color. So with that being said, I feel like this is a fantastic polish. And last but not least, you know I had to add it in here, it's Trendsetter. This is a murky yellow-green cream with a yellow gold shimmer running throughout it. It gets opaque in 2 coats. And yes, I know, not everybody is a fan of this. You either love it or hate it, but for me, I love this color. It's that grungy, gritty, dirty type yellow-green. I know a lot of people say it looks like baby poo, but I'm all about these pretty ugly colors. I just absolutely love them. I'm that basic witch, I know. However, I do have to state that I think this is a great polish to add to any type of collection. Even if you're not really feeling it, it can go with some nail art as well as an accent color. Now I went ahead and created a swatch wheel here of the 20 polishes with the 2 different finishes of matte versus glossy, so you can decide on what finish works best with what polish. Now with that being said, I do have more of these videos coming out. The fall favorites indie version will be coming out later this week, and I will also have a Halloween version that will come out later next week. Also, I have plenty of nail art coming as well, but if you did like this kind of video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Leave your comments down below what your favorite polishes were in this video, and if you have any other recommendations. Plus, go ahead and subscribe, join the Chills crew, and click the notification bell and select all so that you don't miss any of my content. If you do like more of these videos, I have more playlists at the end of the video, and I have more content that I will link down below in the description box. But until then, take care and stay chilly.